not sure that's ethical. I'm gonna have to go back and check. Hey, thanks for joining us. I'm Michael Schneider of TV Guide Magazine, TVinsider.com, and KCRW, and welcome to Lucifer. Now, since you guys saw the pilot, we have time just for a really short panel to meet our stars and producers. So, without further ado, let's bring them out right now. First of all, he's one of the executive producers. His credits include White Collar and Graceland. Joe Henderson. Sporting the devil horns, all right. Next up, oh dude, you know him. Sleepy Hollow, Hawaii Five-0, Underworld, Live Free or Die. Directed the pilot, he's the executive producer as well. Len Weissman. Len, no devil horns? No devil horns?
I didn't get that.
That's all right. Next up, you're giving him terrible IBS. Of course, he stars as Lucifer Morning Star, Mr. Tom Ellis. Next up, of course, she's the star of Hot Tub High School. She plays Chloe Dance on the show, Lauren German. She's got the advice of the entire episode. Stop caring. You're the devil. She plays Maze, Leslie Ann Brandt. He would love a war. He plays Amenadiel D.B. Woodside. Her credits include Forever, Unnecessary Roughness, and CSI Miami. Executive producer Ildi Modrovich. And he is the president of Jerry Bruckheimer TV. Executive producer Jonathan Littman. So, first off, for Joe and Len, talk about this Lucifer. How much is he related to the Sandman character versus how much of this is sort of a new interpretation?
Well, it's really taking and highlighting Lucifer's journey to obviously the LA portion of it, deciding to, he's bored, he's tired, and wants to experience and have his own life. So it's much more of the journey of him setting up and just trying to have his own time. So it will focus on the LA more earthbound side of the books.
And so Joe, yeah, just so this is a kind of an interesting mix of mythology and procedural. So talk about the balance there.
Well, to me, the really fun challenge of the show is in the books you've got these crazy, gigantic, wonderfully brilliant ideas. And our challenge is our show is very grounded, and so how do we take these just huge ideas like Lucifer creating this other world where he could be his own god, and how do we just whittle that down into an idea and to a character arc of a person just trying to get freedom from his father? Like, that's the fun of it. Like, all of the themes of the book are very similar themes that we're playing with. We're just whittling it down to the most human, grounded versions of it.
Yeah, both Tom and DB, your characters obviously have some serious daddy issues as well as quite the brotherly rivalry. So that looks like that'll be some fun to play off of.
I think so, yeah.
Tom, you get a lot of great lines. I mean, you heard the audience; they were laughing throughout this episode. I mean, this must be just a blast to play. Talk about that.
Well, I mean, when I got the script of the pilot, it was literally the funniest script that I read for the whole of pilot season last year. And the way that the character had been realised, it just kind of leapt off the page for me. I had this kind of thing in my head because there was a lot of stuff about the music in it. He was a big fan of like classic rock music.
Yeah, not so much hip hop apparently.
Not so much hip hop. I mean, there are some wonderful people in the field. Yeah, so I had this kind of like image of like, and it was obviously written from he was from a different place to everyone else. So, and it leapt off the page this kind of almost like an Oscar Wilde character. So I just had this image of like Mick Jagger having had sex with Noel Coward. That's what I based it on.
Well, Lauren, Chloe seems kind of immune to his charms, but yet she's drawn into him. Will we see any sort of relationship down the road between her and Lucifer?
I don't know. I mean, at this point, I just think she's just beginning to respect him and his zaniness. At first, it comes off, it's like, who is this guy? But as they go along, I think she's really appreciating, what his abilities with people, what that's bringing to what she does for a living, and kind of at the end of the day, what a good person he is. And
Now she's just talking about.
I mean, but we'll see.
Well,
I don't know if there will be any.
He's not secretive in terms of telling her he's immortal and basically more or less telling her what he is, and she's seen his powers firsthand. Is she going to question this, or what's, or is she kind of accepting of the fact that this guy, hey, he can help me solve cases, so let's do this?
Well, obviously we haven't shot the season yet, only the pilot, and you would think so, right? I mean, the show it, where I'm like, why aren't I dead? Why aren't you dead? And I'm sure that we'll explore that.
She's a terrible detective, and she just forgets immediately.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that was very different about this interpretation of the devil, is that I'd never seen the devil just being completely up front about who he is. We've seen different versions where it's Lucifer, or somebody that's trying to, like in Devil's Advocate, or many versions of the devil hiding himself. And this one was just completely balls out. Here I am. I'm Lucifer. I'm going to call myself Lucifer. Ask me any question. I'll tell you exactly what you want to know. Because the reality is, what's going to happen if somebody's saying that? And that approach was very different. And so it just, because I remember just even looking at how that's going to work with just the rules, with everything. But reality is, it's no one's gonna buy it, of course. So.
Well, the fact is, this is a devil you want to go and have a beer with. You want to go to Lux and hang out with him. So you see.
There was a brilliantly knowing line. I don't know if we made it into the pilot, but there was a line that really made me laugh, where he was talking to his friend, and she asked if she'd done a deal with the devil, and she sold her soul to the devil, and he said, well, that would imply the devil actually cares about your soul. That's the stuff of TV and movies. They always get it wrong. Which I thought was a brilliant take on how our approach to it would be, that it's it doesn't take itself too seriously, and in that we can actually explore much more.
Well, Leslie Ann Mays is not too happy about this kinder, gentler Lucifer, and she's not so happy that she's stuck being a bartender at Lux.
Not at all. I mean, Mays wants to be, back in hell, and she's seeing her mentor, her, boss, best friend, occasional lover. I mean, she definitely does love, Lucifer. Become something that is very dangerous in the world that they're from. Because when you do leave hell, who looks after all, those demons, and what happens to that world? And realistically, she thought she was coming to Earth to have a little bit of hell on Earth. Mm-hmm. Except she's pouring shots, and he's starting to care.
He's saving lives now.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think when you actually, from the pilot, you can deduce that Amenadiel and Mazikeen actually have the same end goal. We both want Lucifer back in hell, which might be explored in the show.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm taking notes.
Got your note about all she does is pour shots. We got that.
Yeah.
Working on it. Yeah.
And DB, you get to be the badass on this show. You get to come in every once in a while, and Lucifer's a little rattled. I mean, every time you show up, there's that look on his face like, yeah, he's not quite in control.
I think it's a really cool dynamic that they've set up with the big brother, little brother thing, and I can see, he gets sent here, basically, he has one mission, and that's to bring Lucifer back to hell, because it's like Leslie Ann said, I mean, somebody has to be there, somebody has to be, keeping watch, and what's happening to hell since he's been here on Earth, I think is something that we're probably going to see at some point.
Well, it's, you know, I mean, in the books, it sort of starts to unravel. You know, reading the Lucifer series myself, I didn't actually realize how big just the idea of this comic book series was. So it's interesting to explore, I think, from our perspective, because we come from this otherworldly sort of place, but we're in everyday Los Angeles.
You gonna have Tom wear those horns in an episode, I hope?
But only the horns.
Yeah.
So
You've jailed Jules back.
Joan, give us a little preview of what to expect in season 1 of Lucifer. Anyone else who wants to jump in and talk about where's season 1 going?
It's going to be really exciting when we see his tail as well. That's coming up.
That sweeps, right? That's a sweeps episode.
What I would say is, what I love about this show is that it's a show about humanity. And it's a very character-driven piece that we're all really excited about. I mean, it's a wayward son. It's a story about, wow, these things really are bent back. It's a story about redemption. And I think that's just one of the most relatable things possible, and it's such a thing to mind, because if the devil can be redeemed, then so can all of us. And that's just the meal to play with for us.
Hope for humanity.
Right?
Wow.
We're optimistic.
That's Who are you? What are you doing? Well, unfortunately, guys, it's 12:30, so that has to be the end of our panel. But check out Lucifer next season on Fox.
Okay. Good Lord.
Keep this area clear. Hey, thank you for Robin Wood on Buffy. Thank you so much.